My house shall be called a house of prayer, but you make it a den of thieves.
Okay, so here we got the first Romans. Of course, this scene, oh my gosh, the Romans look terrible. This is the scene of the temple when Jesus gets angry and flips the tables, because you've got, it's a very famous, in fact, I think it's the only scene in the whole of the Gospels where Jesus actually gets angry. More on that later. But yeah, this is the scene. Let's have a look at these Romans. So, production team, I gotta say this. Production team of The Chosen, Mr. Jenkins, Dallas Jenkins. Not that it's central to the story you're telling, but for season 6, I would be more than happy to just point you to where you could get historically accurate ancient Roman gear, tunics, fogalia, the scarves, helmets, lorica segmentata, lorica hamata or gallica, gladi, everything, shields, and it would make your show look wonderful. Because right now, this looks terrible. The Romans look terrible. And since the acting is superb, the actors are phenomenal. The story about Jesus is really good, very gospel accurate for what I could see up to this point. And you're doing such a good job. The music, the everything, the shots, the cinematography. It kind of makes me feel so bad to see this. This is terrible. I will do it for free. You do not have to pay me. We can just exchange a couple of emails. I'll send you towards some people that can make this stuff very quickly for you, by the way. And I promise this will look spectacular for season 6. Everybody's going to talk about you. Everyone is going to say, man, those... You don't even need to mention me. Don't even say my name. Don't say anything. You could just say, well, we've had a little extra advice and we decided to increase the quality of the representation of the ancient Romans in this show. This is really bad. So anyways, why do I say it's really bad? Well, first, the leather, thin, paper sheet leather lorica segmentata, I have no proof in its history whatsoever. It's something that people used to argue back in the day, but it's been debunked completely after the finding of the actual metal lorica segmentata. Here is just one of the examples. There are plenty of examples, of course. We've got Calcrise finding, we've got Corbridge type A, Corbridge type B, we've got Alba Iulia. There are lots of, although that one is mostly in iconography. We've got a lot of, we know what lorica segmentata looked like, and we know it was iron or steel with some brass, copper, hinges and connections, and then some leather straps. Also, you can see this is cheap, thin leather that bends and stays in shape, like you can see here. It's really bad. Besides, we know that the Romans spent time polishing their gear, making sure it looked great. So like a nice matte finish for their lorica segmentata as they glitter in the sun would have been spectacular and historically accurate. These helmets are very cheap. You can buy them for $50. Version of the Roman helmet used in imperial times, but this exact model doesn't exist. With this type, it's kind of a mixed match between different models. The helmets I would point you towards would cost $100. It's not that I'm telling you need to spend thousands of dollars, and even if they have the budget, we know they have the budget because they crowdfunded it. Also, leather bracelets, they are never found in iconography. I've ranted about this. Every single legionary needs to have his black leather bracelets that didn't exist, so as well, don't give him anything. Or if it's a rich centurion, an officer, maybe a tribune, then you can give them something brass or silver that they are wearing, sure, but just because they are rich, they make money, they're successful, but the average legionary, they shouldn't be wearing anything, let alone this non-existent bracelet. The tunics as well, I mean, the tunics are fine, but then again, every single tunic is sleeved. I would instead alternate between sleeveless tunics and sleeved tunics, because in iconography, we see a lot of alternation between these two. Luckily, they did give them focalia, so I'm happy that they're wearing scarves. They're wearing these mantles. Now, Romans would have worn capes, so that's not a problem necessarily. But then again, it should have become a uniform. It should be something that they wear if it's cold. Let's put it this way. So kind of dependent on the weather. Not to mention the helmets are too big for these gentlemen, and the strapping, it seems to be, you can see that under his chin, this helmet is strapped, but the strap system is connected to I think maybe something in the inside of the helmet, whereas the reality is that they would have strapped the cheek plates, because otherwise these cheek plates are gonna flap. So it's the cheek plates that need to be connected to the face, and possibly for comfort, the Romans would pad them inside. So you would have a little bit of padding inside. It could be fur, it could be some kind of wool even. We can discuss that if you want. Being organic is not the easiest thing to recreate, but we have some possibilities so that they don't have the metal touching directly onto the cheek. And also, the helmets are a little too big for these gentlemen, particularly this gentleman here. And to mitigate that, though, you could have the soldiers wear some sort of beanie that I would suggest to make of wicker, so that then, as again, to be correct with the historicity of these legionaries, and then that way, even if the helmet is a little bit bigger, it's not a big problem because you've got some padding underneath it. It kind of creates a more believable situation.